Alrighty. Well, Katie, it's great to see you again.
You too, Ryan. I always like meeting with you.
It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Well, hey, how about you go ahead and give the audience an idea of like kind of who you are, what you're doing these days, and a bit about your background.
So, my name is Katie Wrigley, and I help high performers to first discover and alleviate the patterns that are driving chronic stress, chronic anxiety, chronic pain. I got into this through my own experience. I was in corporate for 24 plus years, and corporate was actually one of the ways that I got to avoid myself, as it turned out. But I ignored the signs of stress and anxiety and trauma for years, wound up disabled for a short period of time, started to really get my life back, and wanted to make sure that I could create a place out there in the world for people who had a similar experience to me to go grab the life they wanted and not feel like they were stuck in the golden handcuffs of corporate. Like corporate has a lot to offer, but it can also be a really tough world to navigate. And there's a lot of toxicity in there, which I didn't fully realize until I got out, and I didn't realize the toll it had taken on me and how much those toxic patterns were actually echoing a lot of the patterns from childhood. And it was just continuing to reinforce things that were working against me.
Yeah, wow. Felt the same thing in sort of the consulting world as well, especially in the government space. It's powerful work, it's important work, but just not the healthiest environment. So what
No.
was going? Yeah, no kidding. So what was kind of going on in your life when you decided to come work with me? Like, what kind of problems were you looking to address?
So I have been working on my own full time. I left corporate in May of 2021 and really want to get the business into a sustainable model and sustainable revenue, meaning I'm not going into my reserves every month to keep a roof over my head. And was at the point when I met you and we connected on LinkedIn of I was ready to try anything. I was so ready to get out of my own way. And I fully understood at a deep level that I was the only fucking person still in my way. That's it. Like there was no blame to anybody else. It was on me and I wasn't executing and I couldn't really figure out why or what was stopping me.
Yeah, yeah. So, what work had you already done to sort of sort this out? Like you said, you've got your own modality that you're working with, and you've already done a lot of work. Can you what kind of walk us through some of the things that you've already tried?
So, cognitive movement is the modality I practice. It's a mind body system. It uses this crazy looking ball here, which is actually purposely designed to activate the brain. It's a direct access to the nervous system. And so we can work on a lot of these patterns of I'm not good enough or um, guilt, shame, things that we're telling ourselves to hold ourselves back. And I absolutely love cognitive movement for a lot of reasons. It meets people where they are. It doesn't push. And I don't want to say the flaw in it. The flaw in humans that cognitive movement doesn't fully get around unless the human is fully willing is if you have a block on a deep level, it's not going to be changeable through this. Like sometimes we need to have something come around from a different angle to be like, oh, that's the thing holding you there
Mhm.
and to help break that apart. I'd also done several psychedelic ceremonies, done 19 ayahuasca ceremonies total. I haven't gone for years. Yeah, I've been down the rabbit hole a lot. It always gives me really great insight. But what I found is I preferred cognitive movement to psychedelics because when I was in an altered state of mind, I had a hard time convincing myself of the realness of the messages, no matter how spiritual, how in alignment, how much I heard them repeated. I'm like, yeah, I could talk myself out of it. Whereas if I make the change in cognitive movement, there's an automatic assimilation that happens in the body from the way the modality is set up. So you just kind of instantly change that. And maybe I could have gotten there with cognitive movement down the line, but I really needed someone to hold a mirror and really be like, hey, this is what's actually going on with you. I'm just going to go ahead and rip the curtain open, and this is the shit that's behind it. This is the shit that you need to deal with. And in a way that I couldn't dispute or deny, in a way that made me feel really exposed, but I was ready to feel exposed at that point in time too.
So it's kind of the ability to say, "Here you go. This is your stuff. This is stuff you've been dodging." Yep, yep, yep.
Yep.
So what I do is very different, and a lot of people are very skeptical about it. Can you kind of talk about why you had some confidence in this and sort of what your experience was like?
So I had skepticism too, but when we had our first meeting, you nailed me to a T with three questions. And there was just something about you that I'm like, all right, I'm going to trust this guy. I'm going to trust this process. He's got a guarantee if we don't get there, like we keep going until we do. So what he's saying sounds nothing like I've experienced, but let's give it a shot because what you're doing alone isn't working and you need something else. You need a pivot here to help you move forward. So that was a big thing there is all right, let's give this a shot. And when you talked about the science behind it and kind of how my brain had gotten into a catch 22, that made a lot of sense. And I wasn't sure how I could alleviate that for myself through the modalities that I do.
And how was it working with me going through the sessions?
It was exactly what you had said because you're like, oh, we're going to go back to some of these big things and it's not going to hurt at all. I'm like, yeah, okay, that hasn't been my experience with healing traumas. Typically, when you get back into it, it sucks. But that was exactly what happened. So I think we did three trance sessions, or maybe it was two trance sessions, and then a coaching session after that. And the only time that I cried was with tears of joy when I really saw and felt how big my capacity for love is. And I finally like witnessed for myself what I've heard from the outside. Oh, you have such a big heart. You care so much. You know, you really love people. You really want to help them. And I really saw that and saw the power of that for the first time. And that it wasn't painful at all. I still don't exactly understand how, but I don't need to understand how. I just benefit from it.
Awesome, awesome. So the surprising part was just how there was like zero pain about it, or was there anything else that kind of surprised you about working with me?
It was the zero pain and the massive perspective shift. So I'd done hypnosis before and I hadn't really
Mhm.
gotten much from it. Like I'd done past life regression over 10 years ago, if we go into the woo part of me for a moment, and actually really got a lot out of that hypnotist. But we drifted. It was almost 15 years ago that I worked with her. But that really helped me just to kind of get to my soul's purpose, to peel back a lot of the crap there. So that was like the initial outside layers. But then when I had tried to work with other hypnotists, I never felt like I went under or went into the trance state or maybe didn't know what it was. And so I didn't know if it was actually going to work for me. And now I understand from you, Ryan, that one of the reasons that I wasn't fully trusting those people, whereas I put my trust in Ryan, like I'm just going to let him lead me, and the way that you do these core reframes under sessions is huge because you don't get to go into the story, you don't get to go into the pieces that trap. You get forced into looking at the real truth through the prompts that Ryan gives. And one of the biggest reframes that came from, I think it was during the second session, is I had been bullied several times in my life, and it kind of reconfirmed this I'm not good enough thing. And that reframe that came out, it was like, oh, I wasn't bullied because of what was wrong with me. I was bullied because of what is right with me. And
Mhm.
that has been something powerful that I've shared with other clients who have been bullied, who have been struggling with not good enough. And when I feel like someone may be ganging up on me again, it's something that which really hasn't actually happened, but I can go back to that and be like, oh, actually, like, and when I look at people who got bullied, I'm like, how did I not think of this sooner? Like, how did I not see that? Like, we're picking on them and I don't mean we as a collective, when people are bullied, if you look at the people being bullied, they're the sweetest souls. They're so kind, they have huge hearts, and they're not going to fight back.
Yeah.
And it's basically people wanting to smother that bright light that brings bullying, and it just became so clear in that session. It's like, oh, how did I not see this before? And it was that, and really understanding that, the really severely traumatic things that happened to me as a kid, not being able to go into that story and to just kind of understand what did it do to me in this moment, to really detach and realize like it wasn't my fault. It was too little for it to have been my fault. There was nothing about me in a
Right.
negative way that created those things that happened to me. And that was another huge perspective shift that
Wow.
really unlocked a lot.
Awesome. Awesome. So now that we've done the work, what's your life like now? What are some of the biggest changes or the most surprising changes you've seen?
Revenue's up.
That's good.
So, that's good. That's definitely good. I have a much easier time understanding my value, and I'm still as someone who had to do for so long. There's still a little bit of conscious, like Ryan and I met on Friday, and he gave me an impromptu coaching session and really showed up for me and helped really like stop doing and get into being and really embracing like being isn't just sitting there meditating. It's not feeling like you have to put up a facade or say the thing that the person is expecting. You're saying what's coming from your heart. You're being you, like fully. And even since Friday, I had training with my dog yesterday in a group, and a lot of times I'd wait and watch, and I'm like, I'll go first. Like, all right, I'm here, I'm showing up. Like, I'm going to show up and be me. And me is kind of loud and boisterous at times and has a sense of humor and just bringing that in more places. And what's cool is more and more people start to do that within the training sessions when they've seen someone else just allow themselves to be them versus I'm the formal student, I'm listening, I'm not going to be me right now. And it's just making everything easier, really. And another big thing is for the first time in my life, I'm actually open to a romantic partner. Like I've had relationships, I thought I was open and sabotaged them one way or the other, either by choosing someone I knew I wasn't compatible with, or if it was someone I was compatible with, then I would sabotage it and make sure they couldn't get close. So understanding that and seeing that, and I actually went back to someone who had a fantastic date with last year and realized I sabotaged it and I apologized to him and I wasn't worried about what his response was going to be. I was kind of bracing for him to be mean because I deserved it. But he wasn't. He was super kind and gracious and thanked me and is like, okay, why are you reaching out? And I'm like, it was just important for me to own this. So I'm, and I'm nowhere near as worried about what people think of me. And I've been able to spend extended periods of time with people, fully being myself, not needing to do anything, not needing to give them anything, just showing up as me in those authentic moments. And that's huge. And that's, I think, also directly related to the improvement in revenue is when I have a discovery call with someone, I'm showing up and I'm being me. And I'm fully there for them. And my goal is to offer value, and so my conversion rate with discovery calls has been phenomenal since then too.
Outstanding. Outstanding. So what are you looking forward to most now that you've done all this work?
Getting out of my way, staying out of my way. So continuing to really lean into the areas that I want to do more of, like with the cognitive movement sessions I do on myself, since working with Ryan, I have it's so much faster for me to process things out because it's like the core of the onion that was holding everything together is gone. So now all the layers just they peel back really, really easily. And it's like, oh, that's what was there. Okay, how do I actually want to do this? And so I can actually do a lot more work and progress on a conscious level now,
Mm,
to be able to help move things forward as well. And so, and I'm constantly looking at what are areas of my life that I want to improve. For instance, I absolutely love my dog, but she can't be left alone. That can be a little constraining to a social life. And so I'm putting steps in way and ahead of myself to, okay, this is a sequence that I can start to wean her off of me so that she can be left alone for hours at a time or whatever it may be. And she's not going to fall apart. Like she came to me with high levels of separation anxiety, hadn't been able to get on top of it yet. And so there's a much higher degree of confidence in what I can do and an understanding at a deeper level that everything is just a construct of time. And when given enough time to do things, we can pretty much do anything we set our mind to. And that time constraint is usually the thing that we underestimate. It's not us. It's that we're trying to change the world in 30 days. Like maybe we can give ourselves 3 years to do that instead, and then know that you're going to need more time and then sequence and plan from there. So that's been a huge change and something that I'm continuing to do moving forward is I have the patience now to put the systems in place that I need to reach the people who need my help the most, and including myself.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, what would you say to somebody who's kind of on the fence about working with me?
Do it. Do it. You will definitely be triggered at times, and pay attention to that, because those triggers, they aren't coming from Ryan. He's not what's triggering you. He's showing you areas where you have to heal. And I'm not saying he's like a trigger fest or anything, but he's really, really direct. And he's also coming at it with a high level of compassion and understanding.
Mm,
And absolutely, if you're on the fence, or even if it feels like a big investment, you're worth it. Whatever you're trying to do in your life, it's a fraction of what that value is of what you would invest to work with Ryan. So I highly recommend him to anybody who is ready to take a look at yourself, and also admit that you're the only one in your way. And
mm.
it's perfectly fine to get out of your way and allow yourself to move forward. Like, life can have more ease than you're allowing yourself right now.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for that. That's a heck of a compliment. Well, Katie, thank you so much for sharing your experience, and man, looking forward to seeing what you create.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it. And thank you for your help.
Cheers.